Hello again. I am Paul, a voice actor and a stroke survivor from the Netherlands, and I live in a very small town in northern Vermont. Thank you so much for checking in with me and for listening to my story. Recently I decided I was done doing voiceovers, and one of the reasons why I called it quits has to do with my health. First off, I realize every day I belong to the lucky few who lead a reasonably normal life after suffering a massive stroke. I can't explain how or why I got so lucky, and neither can my doctors. All I can do is make the most of my days, gratefully sharing what I have to give, which is one of the reasons I am doing this whole series, why I'm recording this. As a reminder, I am only speaking from my personal, highly subjective experience. So if your experience is different, that's totally fine. Also, I'm using a teleprompter to stay on point because I'm easily distracted, got a bad memory, and I want to cover as much ground as possible in a short amount of time. Anyway, just as many parts of my body became weaker after my stroke, my voice became weaker as well. Remember, when I woke up after my life-saving operation, I wasn't able to speak or form a cogent thought. In many ways, I was a bit like a baby, totally dependent on the people around me and able to walk or talk. You may have heard of the concept of neuroplasticity, which is, according to the source of all wisdom, Wikipedia, the ability of neural networks in the brain to change and grow through a process of reorganization. Basically, the brain is able to rewire itself to some extent. I've been told that since they are lost, brain cells don't ever grow back, but it is quite possible for the brain cells that are still left to take over the function of the cells that are gone. And I don't say that as a neuroscientist, which I'm not, but I speak purely from experience. It's because I have no other explanation for my recovery other than my stubborn determination and the help of people around me. As you can tell, after many months of speech therapy, I was able to talk again, but unfortunately there was some permanent damage to the instrument, my voice box. I worked closely with an ENT who specializes in assisting vocal performers such as actors and singers. Just as the left side of my body would be permanently weakened, in spite of continued exercise, my vocal folds had lost part of their elasticity, their strength and stamina. Once I started talking, I would run out of gas pretty quickly, resulting in me sounding hoarse, as if I had been shouting at the top of my lungs. As you can imagine, this was rather inconvenient for someone whose bread and butter was long-form narration. Since there is no cure, I could only cope by taking on shorter voiceover projects. Some of my clients and agents who knew I had had a stroke simply moved on to other talent, and I can't blame them. I'm not going to lie, my physical inability to be as good as I used to be was frustrating and took some of the joy out of the work I was doing. I had to pass on projects I would have embraced in the past. And who wants to be known as the man who has to say no? It's bad for business. Slowly but surely, I had to accept that this was the beginning of the end of my career as a professional speaker. But this was by no means the only reason I hung up my hat. And I'll tell you all about the other reasons in the next videos. Please like and subscribe if you feel it's worthwhile to follow my story. It really helps me reach more people who could benefit from my experience. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.